I want to follow up with what I posted yesterday about sin and how you overcome it, and what the difference is between temptation and, well, not necessarily the difference, but what is temptation? Temptation is your flesh trying to feed itself, essentially, right? And it's what causes you to sin, right? So whether that's, hey, let's go out and drink, or hey, she looks good, and stuff like that, it's basically just your flesh putting thoughts in your mind that isn't holy. Okay. And how do we overcome temptation? Well, there's a lot of main ways that we do it. A routine fast, prayer, and spending time in the Word. Those, I feel like, are the three biggest things that you can do to overcome temptation. Now, granted, you are not going to get it right away. I'm still struggling with it. Okay. I sin more than I should, but I am working to turn from it, right? I am spending more time in the Word and actually diving deep in the Word so that way God can change me. And so I am now doing a routine fast so that way I am telling my flesh, I am in control, you are not. That is what fasting does. And when you fast, you get closer to God, but also you will be tempted more. But like I said yesterday in 1 Corinthians 10:13, there's no temptation that is not common to man. God is faithful and will not allow you to be tempted beyond your ability. But I didn't finish that. In what the end of that verse says is, God will always provide an escape. He always provides a back door to escape temptation. Now, what is that back door? Well, Jesus tells you in the gospel, I don't remember exactly where it is, but he says, if your right arm causes you to sin, cut it off. If your eye causes you to sin, gouge it out. For it is better to go to heaven with a missing member than to go to hell with all of your members. Right? So, is he literally saying, if you are punching people because you're angry, to cut off your hands? No, he's not actually saying cut off your hands. He is saying whatever is causing you to sin, cut it out. Right? So, if you are being lustful, or pornography is a huge addiction in the world right now. What is causing you to go to that? I know for a lot of people it's social media, so they cut out that social media, or they set limits on that where they're not doom scrolling, right? And I know people that implement that in their fasting, and I'm starting to implement that in my fasting. I don't go on social media. I don't play video games. I don't do things that are pleasurable to my flesh. And what I do is I do the things that I need to do, and then I read the Word, and I spend time with God. So I'll do chores around my apartment, and I'll do my homework, and then I'll spend time in the Word. And those are the things that I'm doing while I'm fasting, because I'm not feeding my flesh. I am feeding my spirit. And so when you feed your spirit, you are getting closer to God. God made me realize today that when I do stumble, it is because I'm feeding my flesh more than I'm feeding my spirit. And that is obviously not a good thing. And so that routine fast, whether it's once a week or a couple times a month or whatever it is, whatever you feel like you need to do in order to overcome temptation, do it. Don't just say you're going to do it and then do something else. It is very easy to do that. Now, am I sitting here and I'm like, I've got it all down, I'm holier than thou? No. I stumble almost every day. Okay? I give into things of the flesh. But I don't live in that. I see it, and I actively try to turn from it. And I've been getting a lot better at it. And you can too if you are struggling with a certain thing. Okay? So notice the things that are causing you to run to that. Cut it off. Deal aggressively with sin. Another thing that you need to do is you need to love God more than you love the sin. If you notice that you are running to that sin more than you're running to God, you need to fix that. And something that helps with me is I picture what he had to endure on the cross. The pain that he went through. When he got flogged, when he got whipped, when he got stabbed, when he was carrying the cross. He died twice before he actually died. He died when he was getting whipped, and then he died when he was carrying the cross, and then he finally died on the cross. And so when I picture that, I realize the amount of love, because he looked forward in the dimension of time, saw our faces, and said, if they are the only ones that get this salvation, it'll be worth it. That's how much God loves you. He put the price of your life with his. There's nothing more loving than that. He loves you so much that he died so he could save you. So, think about that. And read the gospel again if you need to. Read about his crucifixion again. Read about how he lived. How he showed his love. Because when you remind yourself how much he loves you, you realize, I hurt him when I sin. Now, that's not to say try not to sin, right? But just focus on him, right? As soon as you put your focus on him, your life will go so much smoother. Now, it's difficult to do that every day. Very difficult. People who have been following him for years struggle to do it every day. And, I struggle with doing it every day. But God has faith in us that if we accept him and when we follow him, he has faith that we will pull through. And when we endure to the end, he gives us the gift of salvation. So always remember, God loves you. And when you are tempted, run to him. That is what I wanted to tell you guys today. God bless you guys.